You're listening to the Guernsey Past Podcast. Take a journey back to Guernsey's past through newspaper articles.
Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
Always. What have we got this time?
Well, today we're going way back to 1899 to the island of Guernsey.
Guernsey? What's in Guernsey?
A newspaper article, actually. But this is no ordinary article. Oh, no.
All right, you've got me hooked. What's so special about it?
It details a crime, a theft. But not just any theft. This one involves stolen vegetables.
Stolen vegetables? That doesn't sound too dramatic.
It's more than meets the eye, trust me. This seemingly simple case gives us a peek into life in Guernsey back then. Their economy, their justice system, even what it was like to be a kid in 1899.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. Let's hear it.
All right, so picture this. It's market day in Guernsey. The air is filled with chatter and the smell of fresh produce.
I can practically smell the sea salt and freshly dug potatoes.
Exactly. Now, amidst all this hustle and bustle, we have a group of boys. W. Pippet, G. Curley, F. Salisbury, and E. Mabiere. Think of them as like the Artful Dodgers of Guernsey.
Okay, I'm picturing some mischievous lads. What did they get up to?
Well, they decided to target Miss Robin's stall. Miss Robin was a vendor selling all sorts of lovely vegetables.
What did they steal? A giant pumpkin. A sack of potatoes.
Carrots. They made off with a bunch of carrots.
Carrots, really? That's their big heist.
Yep, carrots. But this is where it gets interesting. They didn't just eat the carrots, oh no. They took them to a woman named Mrs. Rousse.
Who was Mrs. Rousse? Another market vendor.
You could say that. She ran a shop. But not just any shop. She sold fried potatoes. A local delicacy, it seems.
Fried potatoes, that's making me hungry. What do the carrots have to do with it?
Well, the boys, in their infinite wisdom, decided to barter those carrots for a few servings of Mrs. Larousse's delicious fried potatoes.
Bartering, like some sort of food swap. That's interesting.
Right. It gives us a glimpse into how things worked back then. Prepared food, especially something tasty like fried potatoes, had a real value. It could even be used as currency.
Makes sense. So how did this carrot caper come to the attention of the authorities?
Well, there was a witness, Miss Pattamore. She saw the boys with the carrots and knew something was fishy.
A vigilant citizen. So they got caught red-handed then.
Pretty much. Though when the constable, Mr. LaHoo, questioned them, that's when things got really complicated.
How so? Did they try to deny it?
Oh, it was worse than that. They started blaming each other. Their stories were all over the place. A real mess of conflicting accounts.
Classic he said, she said. Sounds like those Artful Dodgers were trying to wriggle out of trouble. What happened next? Did this vegetable vendetta go to court?
It did indeed. And this is where things get even more fascinating. The courtroom was like a stage for this little drama to unfold.
Ooh, court intrigue. I'm all ears.
While the prosecutor, who was called the HM's procurer back then, believed all the boys were guilty, but he saw Pippet. Remember him?
The ringleader.
Right. He saw Pippet as the mastermind behind it all. And he wanted him punished severely. 5 years in a reformatory.
5 years. For a handful of carrots, that seems a bit harsh. What about the other boys?
He wanted them punished too, but not as severely. He recommended 12 strokes of the birch rod.
The birch rod. Ouch. That sounds painful.
It was. But luckily for the boys, the bailiff, who acted as the judge, had a more lenient view.
What did he propose?
He actually suggested dismissing the charges against Mabiere entirely and giving the others less severe punishments.
That's interesting. So even back then, they had different opinions on how to deal with juvenile offenders.
Exactly. And the debate on punishment versus rehabilitation is still ongoing even today. But wait, the story doesn't end there. Remember Mrs. Larousse, the fried potato vendor?
Haha, yes. She was involved in the exchange, too.
Well, she also ended up in court, charged with receiving stolen goods.
Those carrots.
Yes. Now, she denied any wrongdoing, claiming the boys actually stole from her, not the other way around. The procureur didn't really have enough evidence to press charges.
What did the bailiff think?
He was suspicious. He even said that giving the boys those fried potatoes in exchange for the carrots was akin to giving them money.
Wow, so he saw the food itself as having a real monetary value.
Precisely. It speaks volumes about the economic realities of Guernsey back then. In the end, though, the case against Mrs. Larousse was also dismissed due to the lack of evidence.
So what happened to our carrot-thieving Artful Dodgers in the end?
Well, Pippet, our so-called ringleader, did receive some punishment, though less than the 5 years the procureur wanted.
And the others?
They got off a bit lighter. But the whole affair left its mark, I'm sure. Imagine being those boys, caught up in this legal whirlwind, all because of some carrots.
It's a wild story, but it really does make you think, doesn't it?
It does. This small, seemingly insignificant case opens up a whole world of questions. How did poverty play a role? What were the social dynamics between these boys? And what does it tell us about how justice was served back then?
It's amazing how much we can learn about a different time and place just by examining a single event.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of deep dives like these. We unearth these fascinating stories that challenge us to look at history with fresh eyes.
It also makes you wonder how things would play out if this happened today. Would the boys face the same consequences? Would we even consider Mrs. LaRousse an accomplice? Food for thought, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It just goes to show history isn't just about dates and names. It's about people, their lives, and the choices they made. And sometimes those choices involve stolen carrots. Who knew?
That's what I love about these deep dives. You never know what you'll discover.
Thanks for joining me on this journey back to 1899 Guernsey. Until next time, keep exploring.
And keep those carrots safe.
Thanks for listening to the Guernsey Past Podcast. Look out for more podcasts soon. If you don't want to miss one, then please don't forget to subscribe.